In previous screencasts, I talked about how to use the CodeIgniter model class to access data in your databases, to how to create methods that use an array for parameters so that you can change and add parameters without dramatically affecting the rest of your code. In this screencast, I'm going to bring us forward in time to 2011. So we're going to be developing using a ORM active record model. So CodeIgniter's model is kind of just there. It offers active record methods so that you can interact with a number of different database constructs so that your code can be database independent, which is good. However, development time costs money, and it's not fun to continuously remake the same things from one project to another, or even if something is completely different functionality-wise, a lot of the back end is going to be very similar. So to kind of reduce some of that redundancy, we're going to go ahead and start using ORM. So what this basically means is the system will be able to interpret our commands and then map them to a database table so that we are not having to explicitly declare all of the SQL to accomplish everything that we need. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to get started by installing CodeIgniter. Then we're going to use CodeIgniter Sparks. Sparks is this system which allows you to easily install functionality into your CodeIgniter 2 application. And we're going to use it to install Matthew Mashuga. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. His PHP Active Record Spark. Matthew is a very good developer, and you can go to his website and take a look at his code. He's contributed a number of things to the community, so I highly recommend you check that out. We'll be go ahead and use Sparks to install that, and then we'll test it in this screencast. So let's go ahead and start. We have let's see here. So our Spark installation folder. So this is where we're going to install CodeIgniter, and here are our installation materials. So we have CodeIgniter, and then we have the two files that we'll be using to install Spark. We'll install CodeIgniter first, so let's just go ahead and do that. Alright, so now we should have a functioning CodeIgniter installation. So here we go. CodeIgniter is installed and running. Now we want to install the Spark Manager. So it's actually very simple. We'll go ahead and create a folder called Tools, and into that we'll just extract the Spark Manager. There's one more step, and that's to extend the core CodeIgniter library so that it can load Sparks. So now we have CodeIgniter running and the capability of installing Sparks. So let's go ahead and load up our editor. This is NewSphere's PHP Ed. I highly recommend this editor. It's very nice. It's a little bit lighter weight than Zen Studio, which I converted from. Zen Studio is a little heavy for me, and so this has a lot of the functionality that I like, but it runs quicker, it loads faster. So let's go ahead and go into Application Config. We're going to adjust the auto load, and just really quick, I'm not going to duplicate any documentation for this screencast. I'm just going to make a Sparks array. So this will tell it to auto load Sparks. So you'll notice here that actually that was correct. You notice here that in the we have tools, and now we're going to need a new folder called Sparks. It'll actually create that automatically. So let's go ahead and install PHP Active Record. So to install it, we're going to go ahead and use the PHP parser to run Spark, which is a PHP application. And then we'll tell it to install PHP Active Record. So let's run that. There's some character encoding issues here. So I couldn't find the Git repository, but it could find the zip archive. It installs Spark install 2, Sparks PHP Active Record 0.0.1. So now we go over here, we have a Sparks folder, PHP Active Record 0.0.1, and our config, libraries, and vendor folders. Vendor, of course, is going to contain the PHP Active Record library itself. Matthew did not create that. That is the work of different gentlemen, and what Matthew did was package it all with with a library that allows it to directly interact with CodeIgniter. So we'll go ahead now that we have PHP record Active Record installed and add the database configuration. So I'm just going to use my little dev database here and PHP AR test. That database is already created. We'll reload this page here. Auto load libraries database. Actually, you know what? We don't need that because we're using PHP Active Record. That's habit right there. Can't find Spark/PHP. Sure. PHP Active Record, and the exact name of that is PHP-Active Record. And then we want to include the version number. So this is nice because if we update our Spark and we download a new version, then we can keep using the same old version. And there we do. There we go. So now we have it auto-loading the PHP Active Record Spark. So that's all done. So now we're running with PHP Active Record. We're going to need a database. Here's one I already created. It's PHP AR test. This software is Navicat for MySQL. It's, to me, the best database management application I have found. I love it. I use it for everything. So let's go ahead and create a user table. Username, I'm just going to make this really quick. Password. And we're just going to be done with it. Save. Save table users. Let's go ahead and add some data. Sean, Justin. There we go. We have a couple records. So there is our users table. Now we have we need to create a model. So we go into the regular models folder, new file, and here we will create our user model. So notice the first letter of user is capitalized. The file name is going to be the same. And here's our model. Done. So we will name it user.php, capital U. And now we can access all of the data within the users table. So let's go ahead and open up the welcome controller. And how about we just do users equal user all to pull back all users, and we'll do a print R on that. Pre-format so it looks nice. Now we'll come over here, reload, and so here is our user information. You can see attributes are here, and here's Justin's record. Now if we want to, we can do, let's see here, for each users as user, echo user, username, save it, run it. So Sean and Justin. So this is basically the beginning. We've installed CodeIgniter 2, we've installed Spark, we've installed the PHP Active Record Spark, and we are ready to start making models.